Peace, peace, peace. Y'all, what's going on? What I want to talk about today is I want to talk about why you deserve nothing. And I know that statement can be triggering if you don't really understand where I'm coming from. You're saying to yourself, I deserve this, I deserve that, I'm owed this, I'm owed that. Look at how someone has done me wrong. Look at how someone has done me dirty. Look at how someone has manipulated me. Look at how someone has taken advantage of me. Whether that be government, whether that be family, whether that be friend, whether that be lover, whether that be environment that you grew up or you live in. But we all have been wronged. We all have been hurt. We all have gone through ups and downs. Now, the question is, what do you deserve because of these things? What are you owed because of these things? The big subjects are what right now? Pedophilia, pedophilia in Hollywood, right? That's the big subjects. Epstein and pedophilia and Ghislaine Maxwell, those are the big subjects. And also the election, right? That's another big subject. And also COVID and the spread of COVID. That's another big subject, right? And we have the economy going up and down, people losing their jobs, another huge subject, right? So these are all things that have been very transformative and eye-opening in 2020. So when we talk about these things that are transformative, that are eye-opening, that are shattering our foundations that we know, we have to also look at what we think that we are owed because these things happen. And my premise is that you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve anything. And I'm going to explain the reason why you feel like you're owed something and why you feel that you deserve something. And it all stems from good old slavery. When you were a slave, when you were made to be a slave, or when you were a captured prisoner of war, which is really what slavery is. It's about being captured as a prisoner of war. There was a war going on in Africa, and we lost. It's just a fact. We lost. We were manipulated, and we were outmanned, and we were outgunned. Better weapons, and also better schemes. So they were able to take our ancestors from Africa and bring us to the Caribbean, through South America, and through America. This is the reality. So let's look at what happened in our timeline, in our history, and why we think we deserve things and why we think that we're owed things. So we once were independent, right? Kings and queens, right? Living in our own societies, whether it be West Africa, North Africa, South Africa, or East Africa. We all had our individual societies, our tribes. You had Mansa Musa kind of running through West Africa, and you had the Commission dynasty, or the dynasty of Egypt in East Africa, right? So you had these different African powers that were erected by Africans, right? You had these societies that were established. And even in America, if you look at the mounds, right? The significance of the mounds is these are things that were erected. These were spiritual technology points, the mounds that are in America. You can look that up. But when you're talking about society deals with building. It deals with creation. It deals with agriculture. It deals with structures. It deals with government. It deals with law enforcement, right? It deals with overall management. But when we came to America as prisoners of war, we were stripped of our autonomy. We were stripped of our language. We were stripped of our culture. We were stripped of our ideas. We were stripped of our ability to think for ourselves. We were stripped of our ability to lead ourselves. And who did we have to turn that over to? We had to turn that over to the powers that be, to the Caucasians that were in power, the Pilgrims that were in power at that time. So over generations, as time went on, our expression or our journey into freedom, what happened is over time, we started to learn who we were. We see the story of Frederick Douglass, right? learning how to read and starting to understand who he was. Harriet Tubman freeing herself from slavery, right? Denmark Vesey learning to read and wanting to start a rebellion, right? And these stories are cyclical throughout the slave narrative. Now, Marcus Garvey, when he came to America, one of the first freedom fighters that came to America before Elijah Muhammad and all that, it was Marcus Garvey. And when Marcus Garvey came from Jamaica to America, his thing was to do for self. Create your own stores, create your own businesses. He formed the Black Star Line, right? And he wanted to bring black people back to Africa. Now, during his time period, imagine how revolutionary that concept was when every black person in America was subjugated and was working for white people in highly, highly oppressive conditions. You didn't have the ability to think for yourself because you didn't know how to read. You didn't have the ability to read. You didn't have the ability to know yourself because you weren't allowed to read. You didn't have the ability to really learn new concepts and new ideas because you were under the thumb of these pilgrims, right? You couldn't venture out on your own and travel where you want to go and go to a new country or go to a new state. You couldn't, there was no internet to hop on and join a group and learn about magic or learn about spirituality or learn about business or learn about Bitcoin or any of those things, right? That we have the luxury of going on YouTube now and getting full lectures and full courses absolutely free. They didn't have that back then. So what they had was a system where the only thing that they got, the only thing that black people got was what the masters gave them. That's the only thing that they were able to get. That's the only thing that they were able to create. That's the only thing that they were able to achieve. The limits to what Massa told them the limits were. The limits to what Massa said that they could do. The limits to what Massa said that they could create. The limits to what Massa said that they could think. So over time, when you are trying to do something, right? We know about Black Wall Street. We know about other black businesses that have tried to, there's a great documentary, PBS documentary called Boss, where it talks about P.B. Fuller and him. I put a video on my page about P.B. Fuller with him starting a multi-million-dollar business in his time period, and watch white people learn that he was employing white people to sell his products, how they banned his products and eventually put him out of business. And there's many stories from Black Wall Street, Rosewood, and things like that, where we have tried to do for self. We have tried to erect things for ourselves. We have tried to create things for ourselves, and subsequently they have been destroyed, right? So because of this, we have developed a collective Stockholm syndrome. A collective Stockholm syndrome. And the Stockholm syndrome is basically the love for your oppressor, right? It's basically love for the person that is oppressing you, because after a while, it's just a psychological disorder. You start to fall in love with the person that's oppressing you, because maybe once in a while they're good to you or they treat you right. It's just like a person or a woman that's abused, right, by someone in a domestic situation. They believe that the oppressor, the person that's oppressing them, loves them, right? Because they may say, oh, only when he's drunk, or only when he's real tired, or only when he has a hard day of work. But other than that, they're great people, right? So that's Stockholm syndrome. So that's what we went through as a collective. So over time, with the bombings, with the killing of, with the assassination of Malcolm, the assassination of Martin, the assassination of Medgar Evers, the assassination of Huey Newton, right? And, well, not Huey didn't get assassinated, but the destruction of the Black Panther Party. And all these people, right, that were trying to become independent, that were trying to lead themselves, all these black people that were trying to do for self, you get to a point, and we know epigenetics has to do with you being conditioned by your environment. You get to a point where you're like, fuck it. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of trying to climb up. I'm trying to build. I'm trying to create. I'm trying to lead and getting killed. I'm trying to create and my things to get burned down. I'm tired of trying to create infrastructure for my people, and this infrastructure keeps getting rejected, keeps being called separatist, right? Reverse racist and all that. And eventually you get to the point where you just lay back, right? That's what happened. And that's what happened to a large amount of us. We just laid back and we said, all right, we are going to trust in our educational system that's teaching us, that's raising a lot of our kids, the Western education system. We're going to trust in the news, in the media, and celebrity, and what they tell us, right? We're going to trust in the government, these presidents, these Congress people, these senators, and what they're saying. We're going to trust these spiritual teachers, these gurus, these leaders, right? And when they don't go according to what they say they're going to do, or what they say they're going to create, or what they're going to build for black people overall, you think, or we think, right, that we are owed something by them. We feel like Trump owes us the truth. We feel like Biden owes us the truth. We feel like the spiritual guru should be perfect. We feel like the government should be working in our best interest. And what do? We're not going to town halls. We're not building our own communities. We're not creating manufacturing, large-scale businesses, large-scale operations, that if you do have a situation like Nick Cannon had, where he was talking about a certain demographic of people that he could go to and say, all right, I don't need that community. I could go to my own community. They have these buildings. They have these offices. They have these structures in place that they've created and erected independently, just like every other nation in America. There are Chinatowns. There's little Italies, right? There are places where the Irish live. There's places in the Bronx, Pelham Parkway area, which is mostly Albanian, right? All these people have their banks, even the Hispanic community with Banco Popular. All these people have their banks, they have institutions, they are aligned, and they are doing for self. They're doing for self. They're working for self. But because we have been oppressed, and we have been beat, and we have been lynched, and we have been shot, and we have been burnt down, and because we have gone through these things, and our ancestors have gone through these things for hundreds and hundreds of years, through the collective consciousness, through the epigenetics, through the cellular memory, we still think that we are deserving of something from our masters. We still think our masters are supposed to feed us like they did on a plantation. We still think our masters are supposed to clothe us like they did on the plantations. We still think our masters are supposed to tell us what to do like they did on the plantation. We still think our masters are supposed to make sure that we're okay so that we can continue to work for them and build their system in peace. The old normal wasn't normal. What we went through prior to 2020 wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. If anything, moving in from 2020 and beyond, what they're calling the new normal, is going to be much more normal if you tap in to who you are and what you are and start creating and start building and start forming collectives. You know how a startup starts? Very simple. I am a writer. My friend is a graphic designer. My other friend has a degree in marketing. My other friend has a degree in accounting. We come together. We have an idea called Black Cat Society. And Black Cat Society is a society that develops wholesale t-shirts, right? Let's just say wholesale t-shirts. And we come together and we start a business, right? We start selling t-shirts and see what happens, and by putting our talents together. That's how startups happen. But how many black startups do you see that are being formed based on that model? How many how many neighborhoods are being bought up by the wealthy in the black community, just like every other culture does? They go on land grabs. You see that in China with them grabbing up all the land and tying African countries to debt that they can't even handle. So we, as a collective, because we have gone through this oppression, because our masters have done everything for us and told us that they could do everything for us, didn't Obama promise you hope? And don't think because he's black that he's not a slave master. Whenever you vote for a president, you're basically voting for the new slave master. That's really all you're doing. And him as the slave master, he's just a puppet for another bigger slave master. So we have to really, so you don't deserve anything in life that you're not creating. You don't deserve anything in life that you're not putting forth energy and effort for. You don't deserve anything in life that you're not purposely learning. You don't deserve anything in life that you are not imparting on your family, the knowledge that you're giving your family, your children, your friends. Well, not even, I won't even say your friends, because everyone is on their own path, but your own children, your own direct family, your soul tribe, your spirit tribe of people. If you're not giving back to them in some way, if you're not building in some way, if you're not trying to build business, if you're not trying to build institutions, if you're not trying to build, come through as a collective with ideas, and not just ideas for the sake of sound and fly on the internet, but ideas that really are going to move the culture forward. Or if you're not attending town halls, if you're not getting people that are going to, if this is the system that we're in and continue to be in, if you don't have paid people that we all cash app and we all GoFundMe and we say this is the representative for us that we're going to put in Senate, in the Senate in 2020 or 2024. We're going to put this person, we're going to back this person financially and get them in Senate because we believe in their ideas. And it's not going to be everybody, but a collective of us. Just like the Italians did. Just like Europeans do. Just like Asians do. You get people, pay them that represent your interests, and then you start to get what you really deserve. But you have to work for that. You have to put in work for that. You have to put in collective ideas from that. You can't be focusing on Beyonce or what you think her being demonic and black is king in. You can't be focused on just child pedophilia. You can't be focused on what Trump says that triggers you or what Biden says that triggers you. You can't just be focused on what white people says that's triggering you. You can't just be focused on who just got shot by the police officer. Especially since these people that are getting shot by police officers are getting paid millions of dollars. 1.5 is the average when someone is getting shot, and look them all up from Mike Brown to Trayvon Martin. They've all got settlements for over $1 million. All of them have gotten settlements. I think Corinne Gaines was the biggest, which she got 18.5 or something crazy like that. I think it was, or maybe it was more, maybe it was 86 million or something like that. But they have all gotten settlements, and they all are now able to affect change and build things. But what is really being built? What institutions are really going up? What things are really changing in our community? We still think we deserve our masters to look out for us. Even saying Black Lives Matter, is a way of trying to appeal to our masters. And we don't even see it like that. But it's a way of trying to appeal to our masters. Please, Black Lives Matter. How long are we going to say Justice for Breonna Taylor. Before someone in Breonna Taylor's family goes after the people that killed Breonna Taylor. There's some men in Breonna Taylor's family somewhere. There's some men in all these police victims' family somewhere. Ahmaud Arbery's family somewhere. These people should not be. The person who killed George Floyd should not be walking in Target unencumbered. But you are expecting the justice system, the slave masters. You are expecting the government, the slave masters. You are expecting the CDC, the slave masters. You are expecting these people to tell you what you deserve. You are expecting these people to give you what you deserve. But I'm here to tell you, you deserve nothing unless you put in the work to get it. Unless you come through as a collective to get it. Unless you start reading books. Unless you start doing the knowledge on this internet and stop playing with it and using it as a way of escapism and celebrity idolatry. Because even the pedophile shit is celebrity idolatry. It's still celebrity idolatry because that's who y'all are focusing on. But what about the people in y'all family? Let's talk about that. I don't see them on y'all timeline, the people that are molesting people in y'all family. I see Tom Hanks, I see Beyonce, I see this person, I see this flight log, I see this person. But I don't see nobody from y'all family, none of y'all uncles, none of y'all aunties, none of that, that's really doing the molesting. So who's really against pedophilia? But you want the government, you want Ghislaine Maxwell to expose all the celebrities so you could feel good. You could feel like you got some justice. You want your masters to give you justice. You deserve nothing. You deserve nothing. You get what you put in life, and you get what you create. They're talking about in 2053 that the black masses will be in total poverty, worse poverty than they are now. Because what do we have? We have some street signs, some sidewalks that are painted Black Lives Matter, and some street signs. But what institutions do we have? One institution is there for someone who stands up for black people to fall back on if he's economically castrated by white society. What are we really doing? What are we really doing? Are we lip professing? Are we talking shit? Or are we really building? Are we really creating for the new world? You deserve nothing that you don't go get. Peace, power, prosperity.